Strongly hearing for you today is that you're not returning back to the same spot that you were. You're actually moving forward. You're actually way more ahead than what you think that you are, than what you expect that you are. And it may feel right now as if you're kind of returning back to the same point. So you had like a journey where you had a starting point, and it may feel right now like you're returning to the same starting point. However, I'm here to tell you, and we're going to get some more information on this message, that you're actually not in the same place that you used to be when you started your journey. In fact, you have gathered so many resources, so many tools, so many abilities. You've grown so much as a person that Spirit wants to tell you and to really strongly make you listen to this, that you are actually way ahead than 99% of people. And although you may feel like you're not, like you're actually behind, because if you're returning to the same point as before, then it means that somehow you're going back in time. That you're going back, you're not evolving, you're devolving. However, what I'm really picturing is this spiral. So you are going back to the same point, but the spiral is actually wider. You have expanded, you have grown. You are at a different point that is, it connects to the same line, like in a spiral, like you have like this. So you may be right here before, but now you are at a wider point in the same spiral, but further away. So let's see what Spirit has to tell me about this message for you guys. Collective, you are not going back in time. You're actually evolving. You're actually moving forward. Spirit, let me know, what messages do you have for this collective? What does this collective need to hear right now regarding this message? Regarding this message that found them, that I have set the intention to only be found by the people who this message is for. Okay, this is getting good, guys. We have the 10 of Swords here, and 2 more cards wanted to come out, so let's see. Oh, actually one of the cards is an extra card of the deck, and we will just roll with it. It's the symbology card, the symbol card. So we have the 10 of Swords, the mystery card, and we have the 9 of Swords. Okay, you have been through it. You have been through quite a lot. The worst has definitely come to an end. You are now at a point where you have been through so many struggles, so many betrayals. You may have been recently stabbed in the back by someone, like somebody betrayed you, somebody lied to you. Maybe you discovered that somebody was actually talking behind your back, somebody was, making fun of you, being really cruel, and you were not aware of that. It was something that it was just happening without your awareness. It was happening behind your back. You went through some kind of disagreement with someone, some kind of fight, something that really brought you down to your knees, and it made you feel really, really heavy. And you have actually overcome that. You're actually on the other side of that. You may still be feeling the pain. You may still be feeling like you are hurt, because you are. However, there's hope. And this is what this candlelight card tells me here, is that now you're holding the little piece of hope, your little spark of life. You're now at the point where you realize that the only thing that actually matters is that you keep yourself lit up, and that you're the one who is guiding the path. Okay? And how does this relate to the conversation that we were having just now about the spiral and about, you're not devolving, you're actually evolving, is that what I'm seeing here is that you are now at a point where you no longer care about what other people have to say about you, what other people think is correct, what the path they consider to be right and correct is. The only thing that you care about right now is what you consider to be correct and what you consider to be right, because you have come from a point where you have followed what other people want you to do. So what this could be pertaining to is maybe you took a degree that was expected of you, like somebody in your family was expecting for you to be a doctor, for example, and you took that degree. However, you ended up, getting the job, becoming a doctor. However, that did not satisfy you, and it did not make 100% part of your mission. And not only that, but you got very hurt and very somehow taken for granted and betrayed in the process. Okay? And because of that, you realize that following what other people consider to be correct is not exactly what you're meant to be doing. What you're meant to be doing is following the path that is your own. And what does this all compile to? There is this one talent that before this whole journey started. So I will say it could be a journey when it comes to a career change, or it could be a journey when it comes to an education, or some sort of taking a course of some sort or something like that. So you were at a point where you wanted to, make a living for yourself, become financially independent, and you had to make a choice between your creative path, your creative endeavor, your talents, and what actually pays the bills. Okay? And you made that choice. You made the choice and went for what actually pays the bills. You got the education, you got the job, you become a doctor, right? Or whatever other profession that you have. And you were on the path, but that talent, that creative self-expression never left you. It was always there with you. And every time that you got the chance, you would develop it, you would work on it, you would sit with it, you would imagine that you're working with it, right? And in this nurturing, this letting this talent, this creative expression that you have fuel you and guide you and take you on the path, it almost took you by the hand and took you on your path to, making the money, getting the bag, being able to survive, right? Being able to make a living for yourself. It was almost illuminating the path for you. It was almost like being right next to you along this path that you were taking. When you felt like you had sleepless nights, when you felt like you were having a lot of anxiety and things were really difficult, this creative expression was there to kind of hold you, and it was there for you as an outlet. And what that nurturing of the creative expression has resulted in, it's resulted in it taking over again. So before, when you started this whole journey of becoming this independent human being with financial, independence and being able to afford things for yourself, you kind of pushed that creative expression to the side. You were like, I don't think I can do anything with this. This is not going to pay the bills, so I'm just going to leave it behind. However, it almost made you more hungry to go after this thing. And now you've got to the point where it is so loud, this creative expression that you have is so loud that you can no longer ignore it. You may be waking up during the night with messages or some sort of, creative outbursts almost maniac-like creative outbursts. If you're a writer, you can wake up in the middle of the night and just start writing out of the blue, like random text and verses of something that you don't even know where it's coming from, but you're just writing and writing. Or if you're a painter, you can just get a creative idea about a painting out of nowhere in the middle of the night. You can also dream very heavily about, all of this creative expression that you're nurturing, and it's almost like not leaving you alone. And you are now at a point where you have no choice but to look at this. You have to look at this because it's gotten so loud, it's gotten so intense that now you can no longer ignore it. Now you can no longer, just tuck it underneath the carpet and leave it there, Now it's like, it's here. It's in the room, it's present with you, it's disturbing your sleep, and it's making itself known, right? And you may be feeling, that's why I said in the beginning of the video, you may be feeling like, what am I doing? Now I'm back at the start. We already went through this. I already went over this. I cannot afford living with this creative expression. The bills are not going to pay themselves. I don't have time for this. But what Spirit is here to tell you is that that's what you were supposed to do all along. That's that thing that is keeping you awake at night, that you cannot stop thinking about, that you are trying so hard to suppress. That is actually the thing that you're supposed to be doing. That is what Spirit wants you to know, collective, is that this is exactly the path that you were supposed to be on, and that you pushed it away almost as a way to create a fake life for yourself. And don't get me wrong, it can be a life that is actually very sustainable, and that is a life that you actually feel really good in. However, it is not satisfying enough. It's just satisfying like 50% of your needs, right? But those other 50 are still there, and they're still linger. And although you may feel like you're devolving, for almost going back to that point and feeling like, okay, am I a child again? Why do I think that I can do this again? You're not. You're actually coming to the same point on purpose. Spirit wants you to be in the same point because there is some richness that you're supposed to discover in returning to the same point, but wiser. And this is what I wanted to get at, is you return to the same point, but now you have a different perspective. Now you have acquired almost like experience to the point where your past self did not have. And it is valuable experience. It is experience that can help you look at your creative expression and actually understand what you could do with it, and how you could monetize it, and how you could develop it and grow it and make it into your main thing. Okay, so this message is going to be about career shifts, I see. Okay, let's see, Spirit, what you have to tell us more about this message. We're looking at a career shift. So our collective is returning to the basics. It's returning to their base talent, to the main thing that they were supposed to avoid, keep away from, that thing that they're just supposed to keep their head up high, follow the path of 9 to 5. But there's this one thing in the back burner, just fire burning that they cannot ignore. They cannot ignore the 7 of Swords. I'm seeing a lot of swords here. All the cards that I took are swords. And this is very much telling me that this is a mental process. This is a mental struggle that you're going through. You are going through this actually mentally. Like, you're going through this in your mind, in your head, in your dreams, in your thoughts. And what I see is that your mind can actually also help you. So the 7 of Swords is this card of lying to yourself, of running away from what you're supposed to be doing, of not being honest, not being 100% honest. And I feel like you're not being 100% honest with yourself. You are in need of expressing yourself through this creative expression, but you're suppressing that, you're hiding that, you're almost like not letting people know about it. You know, you're like doing things in secret and trying to keep things from people because you don't believe that this creative expression is something that you can be like actually seen as. This is about identity, you guys. This is about identity as well. This is about the identity that you feel like you need to be in order to embody that job, that career shift. Okay, we have the King of Wands. And what that career shift is, that you're supposed to be self-employed and you're supposed to be somebody who is leading. So like you're a leader in this creative self-expression. There is nobody else calling the shots. You're the one telling people what to do, okay? And this can be quite scary because if you're the one calling all the shots, you're also the one making all of the mistakes. So yeah, collective, I see that now you can look at this creative expression you have, whether it is writing, drawing, singing, skateboarding, dancing, whatever it is, there's a clear talent here, a clear creative expression that wants to come through you and that is meant to come through you. And because you have been on this path that has made you so rich and full in experience and wiseness and knowledge, you now have the tools and you are prepared to lead, to become the leader and to take lead of your life. You are now prepared to almost like transform this creative expression into your main full-time job. Okay, and Spirit has given you this gift of offering you all of this experience that you have earned in order for you to get to this point and have the tools to develop your creative expression, because otherwise you would get to this point and not know and not have enough knowledge to develop your creative expression, and it would almost fall away. Okay, so it can feel quite contradictory in your mind as well right now. You can feel very like, why did I even put so much effort? Why did I even study so much? Why did I go after this job and actually get the job if it's not the one thing that is meant for me? And if now I have to let it go, right? You can be having all these questions in your mind right now, and also why all the swords are coming up, because this is like a mental battle that you're in. It's almost like I put all of this effort, now I have to let this go. Yeah, that's exactly what Spirit is telling me, that is exactly how it was supposed to be. It was exactly how it was supposed to be. You were supposed to get that knowledge in order to get to this point, and you can now apply it for this creative expression of yours and making it happen and making it your thing. Because now you're no longer looking at it from a lens of a junior, from a lens of somebody who is just there learning, right? Like first grade, we're learning about this. In the past, when you started this, you were like that. You were learning. You were that giving the first steps. You were like first grader. And now you're graduated. You've graduated. Now you've taken the last exams. You have passed with flying colors. And now you are ready to actually look at this seriously and make it your main thing. And that was the aim of the universe, is to educate you, to make you go through this education process, whether it was an actual education process, like you took a degree, or whether it was also some sort of education through life, like life school, you know, going through motherhood, going through a job, going through any other journey like that. Okay, let's see last messages for this collective. That's very exciting, you guys. I'm very excited for you because now you're finally mature enough in this endeavor. We have the King of Cups and the Lovers. Okay. Yeah, the last messages is that this is definitely creative expression that you're supposed to tap into, something that has to do with creating, with writing, with poetry, with music, with some sort of emotional journey that you're making art out of, right? And the Lovers it is just the thing that is meant for you, and it's also meant to bring so much love and so much happiness to others. This is not something that you're just doing out of selfishness. So how do you know what creative expression I'm talking to you about? Is I'm talking about this one thing that you're doing that makes it feel like you're actually helping other people, and it's not actually only for yourself, right? And it's helping you to create love and harmony and happiness in others as well as yourself. Well, this is the message for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, Collective, and I hope to see you on my next video.